another episode of You and I for the Kenai. As always, I'm with Eric and Cobrin, and today we got another special guest to share a story with us. Billy. Billy, how's it going today?
Doing good, man.
Good.
Rushed over here from my meeting. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you said you had a home group meeting just now?
Yeah, yep.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Just to get us started, Billy, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm Billy. I'm alcoholic, obviously. And I grew up in a village called Kipnuk, and living in an isolated village and growing up. How I grew up is crazy. Like, I grew up in 3 different villages, Chifornik, Kipnuk, and Kong. And first 4 years of my life, I kind of grew up fast. Mom was drinking, everyone was drinking, all that. And yeah, I was molested as a kid and abused. Yeah, it's crazy how looking back at it and how I can tell my story without even feeling guilty about it anymore. And I remember at the age of 4, I had my first beverage, and I was like, "Mom, I want a soda."
Yeah.
I just want a soda, Mom. And they were just partying, just playing cards, and like, "Oh, I'll get one." And I don't know how a beer looked like, so I know what a can looked like, and I thought it was a soda. And I tasted it. I was like, "Oh, that's a weird taste."
Yeah.
But I felt that warm feeling that went up from my stomach and to my head and made me clear, a lot clearer. Because at the age of 4, I started feeling things I'm not supposed to feel. At the age of 4, and I remember just drinking that beer. Just like, wow, I feel normal. Like, started drinking it, got 3 more.
Or at least what you thought normal should feel like.
Yeah, and I gave one to my older brother, and my brother didn't want his, and I drank it, and I blacked out, and I don't know, just my mom told me I was smiling on the bed. And from there on, my mom started drinking heavily, and we got taken away from OCS. And it'll back up a little bit. When I was 8 months old, I burned when I was a baby. Yeah, I had a lot of skin grafts all through my high school and middle school. Growing up, because I burned and I thought I was different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made me feel different.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing these kids with like normal feet and normal legs, and they weren't burnt, no scars on them.
Yeah.
And I always used to use jeans all the time. I can use trunks right now. I'm comfortable for who I am right now.
Yeah.
But at the time, felt different. And I had a lot of skin graft surgeries and a lot of pain meds. I can't believe I didn't get into drugs because I had a lot of pain meds in my life. From there on, when I turned 5, I think I remember my OCS, man, they scarred me for life, traumatized. I remember my mom was in Bethel, and my mom and my stepdad were in Bethel, and they brought me along. And they left me at the playground by the hospital, and they were going to the hotel. I forgot what hotel was it, and it was by the school, by Kilbuck School, and they were going to this hotel. They told me to wait for them at the playground. I was waiting for hours. And I remember these 2 white people, my mom taught me at the young age, don't talk to strangers. And they were strangers.
Yeah.
And I was like, they were talking to me, "You want to follow me, son?" I was like, no, I'm just playing outside. And I started running away, and they started running after me, and they just took me, brought me to the car, and I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
And I was so scared, and they brought me to the office, and they calmed me down, let me watch cartoon. And that's what scared me and traumatized me. And I remember they brought me to an orphanage in Bethel, and I was there for about a couple months. I remember crying every day, wanting my mom.
Yeah.
And after 2 months, my brother, where he was staying at the foster parents, he was there, and they picked me up, and I seen my brother, and I was so happy to see him. Real happy. I just hugged him, and I don't know, it felt a little bit complete. And it, like, my brother's here, I'll be good. But where we went to, and the foster parents, they were old, really old, and kind of a little abusive.
Yeah.
We didn't eat as much as, like, barely ate. I remember when I was in kindergarten, I was really hungry. Just one night, I was just crying and crying. They were like, "Shut up, we're trying to sleep." I was just crying, and they finally gave me a small bowl of native food soup, and I just ate, and I was still hungry. And and then I told my auntie about it, and she took us in. She took me and my brother in, and that was one of the awesome moments in my life. I remember, but I still wanted my mom, even if I was with family. My mom was still stuck with her disease, and with my stepdad, oh my goodness, man, he used to beat her all the time.
Yeah.
And growing up, I was in kindergarten, 5 years old, 6 years old, and after a couple of months, they were maintaining, like they're drinking, my mom and them, and OCS said, you can give them back. And we went to my mom and my stepdad, and they relapsed, and my stepdad was starting to beat my mom almost every day, drinking. I remember me and my brother were crying all the time. And
How old are you at this point?
5 and 6.
5 and 6.
And just growing up in an abusive family and going to school at the same time, just felt like I would grow up like a bad family. Grew up I think I'm in the wrong family, like that feeling.
That
And then-
started at a pretty young age.
Yeah, and then
Just feeling like you don't belong, more or less.
yeah, just 2 months after 2 months after they got us back, well, our auntie took us back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember my baby brother was born, half brother. I was happy too seeing him. Just being happy to see him is like, I got a little brother. Yay, I'm not the baby anymore. And they were still abusive, drinking at the same time.
Yeah.
I remember my mom brought him into the room where they were obviously smoking weed in there. I remember he was crying really bad. And one time they were being so loud and breaking plates everywhere. Just everywhere. I remember me and my brother just getting my baby brother ready, just in a blanket. It was raining and it was really windy outside, and we walked to our grandmother's house. And
6 years old, right?
yeah, and my brother was 8 and I was 6, and my baby brother was crying, and it was raining really bad, and just looking at, whoa. We knocked at our grandmother's house for about 10 minutes, and it was like, oh my God, what are you doing outside in the rain? We went inside, I was crying, and I told them our mom was drinking, and that's when they took us back.
Yeah.
And we stayed with my auntie ever since. And my auntie became real close. I mean, we became really close. I consider her as my mom.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she passed away last year, February 21, from cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's all good. And I felt a little complete still. But I still had that feeling I come back from a broken family.
Yeah.
And I was going through school and all that, and I was fighting ever since first grade. And just for someone stealing my pencil, I'm going to fight you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just fought and fought and fought until I went to 7th grade, and I found weed. Oh, miracle. And I got my free. Oh, sorry, my stuff free. Okay. I got my free because my cousin was a dealer, and
Yeah.
every day I get like $50 for this big. It's like that big. It's like, but I got it for free though.
Yeah.
And I just started smoking weed, and I felt a little.
Were you living in Bethel at this?
Kipnick.
Kipnick.
It's like
Okay,
it's
yeah.
like he knows, like 50 miles west of Bethel. It's near the coast.
Okay.
And I'd see him when I was still living with my mom. I'd see my mom and them still drinking, and my mom would see me. I'd still be happy to see her even if she was drunk. And I remember telling myself I wasn't going to be an alcoholic like her. Growing up, yeah, I just had a lot of surgery, skin grafts, and I just a lot. I felt different because I had these scars on me. And after 7th grade, from basketball, and became a star right away. And even smoking weed, I was just bringing weed to the other villages. Yo, let's smoke.
Yeah.
And then just played basketball. And the 9th grade, oh wait, no, back up. 8th grade, my grandmother passed away, my mom's mom, and that took a little piece out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every family member that passed away, that piece that's disappeared.
Right.
And I started being very passive, just mostly building it up. And I went to college after graduating, and dislocated a lot from sports.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of my addiction. Just listen to doctors saying to stop drinking, but with mine, stop playing, stop playing basketball and let your shoulder heal. 2 weeks, and after 2 weeks, I'd be playing basketball again, and I dislocated like 25 times. And from that dislocation, the socket, it carved out the bottom, and I had to have surgery done, so it's all healthy again. But after graduating, I remember I met my ex-girlfriend, had the girlfriend at the time, and we were dating for 3 years, and she caught me smoking weed. It's like, if you keep smoking weed, we're done. So I cold turkeyed, and I substituted with alcohol. Yeah, and my best friend, he peer pressured me.
Yeah.
And he's like, here, come on, here, have some. Like, f it, I'll have one.
You were telling it you were telling us earlier. It was like on your 21st birthday, too,
Yeah,
right? Like, yeah.
We were playing King's Cup, and I'll have my tea. I'll have only my tea. And then that peer pressure finally gave in, and I just have a shot. And I felt that feeling I felt when I was 4 years old. I was like, whoa, that feeling is back. Let's try another shot, see how that makes me feel. And I started getting a lot drunker. I remember just walking into the bathroom. It was in my ex-girlfriend's college dorm, and I looked in the bathroom and was like, holy cow. Looking at myself, smiling, felt normal again.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm never stopping this. I remember saying that. And then 3 years, fast forward, I was a functional drinker. They say functional drinker. Oh,
I like the air quotes. Just
yeah,
functional drinker.
And I remember just drinking only when I had time, or sometimes all the time. It was only on the weekends.
Sure.
And only when I didn't have any homework. And then my ex-girlfriend cheated on me, and I thought it was end of the world.
Yeah.
That end of the world feeling. And
Yeah.
after she cheated on me, I was like, well, we're done.
Yeah.
Because I knew when a girl cheats, they'll do it again. Or either way, guy does that or something. But and I remember after that, my grades were starting to go down. I started drinking during the weekdays and after class, and barely passed my third year.
Really?
Yeah, just C's and B's and all that. And I had a feeling like if I move away from her, I probably won't drink as much. And I went to Anchorage. I was going to UAF at first, and I went to UAA. And then somehow she found out I was going to UAA, like she stalked me or something. And then I first I was doing good for the first month until I seen her. I was like, oh, I see my ex-girlfriend. So like, oh, the world's ending. Just being self-pity and all that.
Sure.
Still hurts.
Yeah, I had my own apartment at the time, and I just withdraw all my classes and just partied only. Just
Really?
drank every day.
What had you been studying?
Applied business.
Okay.
I just needed about probably 16 more credits, and I'll be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And
So you're on the brink of graduation.
Yeah.
You're battling these ex-girlfriends, this ex-girlfriend trouble. I mean, and your childhood stuff, I imagine, still kind of
Yeah.
sticking with you.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what
just-
I mean, that's still baggage. You're carrying all this baggage. And honestly, it's kind of surprising you hadn't dived in earlier. You know what I mean? Like, you're still functioning.
there was like
Yeah, man. You functioned. I mean,
yeah, for a long
it
time.
sounds like you're saying like I barely passed my third year, but like given all the things that Aaron just talked about, like to even go all the way through your third year, even like some of the most like healthy, put together air quotes individuals have a hard time getting through their that far.
Yeah.
So I mean, it sounds like although it was challenging, you were still getting some stuff done.
Yeah, well,
know.
I feel like we're about to hit a straw that broke the camel's back here.
Sure. I mean, you saw her, so she had moved there, you think, and
Yeah,
you were like, "I'm done with school. I just want to drink."
I just want to drink. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was starting to affect my life too. Family members started seeing it, and
They did.
yeah, it was like, you gotta slow down drinking. And my mom, when she was alive at the time, then she got cancer, and I was like, I'm gonna lose my mom. Oh no! Started drinking heavily, really heavily, and I got evicted from my first apartment after 4 months. Like, you gotta leave, and only place I could go to was my hometown, was to sober up only. Only time I would go to my hometown was to get sober.
Really?
Yeah, just to go over there. And every time I felt a lot better, and I moved back to Anchorage, and I got another apartment. I got evicted from that. At 4 months, I couldn't even keep an apartment.
Because you would start drinking again.
Yeah, just throwing big parties and all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I woke up, I was like, I need that drink. I need that drink. And I was starting to go to the emergency room a lot at A&MC and started just get the shakes getting away. And
Really.
yeah, and get that shot. I don't know what's it called, but I used to go there just to get the shakes away. And then my first treatment, it wasn't a 12-step program. It was a Schick Shadle over in Washington.
Okay.
It's a erosion treatment. I don't know. It's where they force you not to
aversion.
Yeah, aversion treatment.
Yeah.
And when I went there, it was a two-week program.
Yeah. Wow. What was that like?
Oh, it was horrible.
Miserable.
Not miserable, but horrible.
Yeah.
Torture. Like, they have this room where they make you puke called the Duffy room.
Make you puke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they create it to where it's really aversive, or like totally not what you want, super negative, super challenging.
Yeah.
But challenging isn't the right word. It's just simply aversive.
Yeah.
It's not pleasurable. It's
Yes.
discomforting, and I think what they do, right, is they have you drink like your favorite drink, but they also have
like
you
they
give you something that makes you throw up.
Yeah.
So then the idea behind it is that like you associate being so sick
Yeah,
with
with
this
that
drink. You're like I do this,
Super
this
Pavlovian
happens.
Yeah.
kind of, like,
And the next day after the Duffy room, they used Perforol, what Michael Jackson died from.
whoa.
And being a professional blackout drinker, I manipulated that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like they were like, "Did you really say this?" Like, yeah, I said that. And yeah, it's crazy. In 2 weeks, I was there, and just 2 days away from that place, I relapsed. Yeah, it was my birthday. I had to celebrate with my best friend, and I was binging for about a week, and I went home and just to sober up. And then I started drinking at my hometown. A bottle over there for a fifth of R&R's $250 to $300.
Yeah.
And the good like the Grey Goose and stuff, $500 to $600.
Wow.
And that didn't stop me to drink. I just bought everything that they had. And when it was dry in wintertime, no booze anymore, I'd drive to the next village just to get another bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And that went on for a long time until my mom passed away and my uncle passed. I lost 12 family members last year.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was using their death as an excuse
Yeah.
to drink. And the one that mostly hit me was my mom and my uncle. Because my uncle, he taught me guitar. And I've been playing guitar since I was 6. And I don't know, they most meant something. And I used their death as excuse. And I went here to this place, Serenity House, for treatment. And I thought it was my low bottom. I thought in July 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I remember drinking. I had R&R bottle on my left and a 22 Magnum on my right, and I Russian roulette it 3 times. Took a shot, pulled the trigger, nothing happened. Spin it again, took a shot, pulled the trigger, and on the last one, I was gonna pull the trigger first, and instead of it, took a shot. And I looked at my dog. She was down there, and she was looking at me like, "What are you doing? What you doing?" Kind of face. And I didn't do it. And I looked at the bullet. It was in the chamber. If I pulled the trigger, I'd be gone right now. And I thought that was my bottom. But when I came to the Serenity House here, and I didn't really want to quit drinking. I just want to learn how to function, become a functional drinker, and be able to drink at the same time. But
Kind of progress enough to regress.
yeah, and the application, it said 30 days you can leave. And that's not true. You got to finish step 1, 2, and 3. I was still on step 1 after 30 days.
Yeah.
And then I really wanted to get out of there, so I just rushed to the packets of step 1, 2, and 3, and I stayed another 40 more days, and I left, and I white knuckled it, and I got a sponsor, and I wasn't honest.
You weren't honest?
Really?
Honest on
You
it.
weren't honest.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I still wanted to drink. And when things didn't go my way, I'd go for the bottle. So
Really?
things weren't going my way, so I went for the bottle. November 11, my mom's birthday came up and I relapsed, and that was a month binge. And I got my first DUI on the 3rd of December, and got arrested, went to jail. I couldn't handle jail for a day. It's like, oh, let me out of here. And got out. I was hungover and withdrawing, and I went home to my hometown and they were saying, you can come back to the house, to the Serenity house, and you got to go to the detox first. And it was on the 11th of December, and I was in Bethel, and I stayed there for 2 weeks until New Year's. And I binged there, and I remember 31st was my last drink. And my new clean date is 1/1/18, January 1, 2018.
Yeah.
I remember on the 1st of January, I remember just after partying, I was going to go call my family. No one answered. No one didn't want to do anything with me.
Really?
Yeah. And then even my family in Bethel didn't want to do anything. Even my college buddies who I went to college with, they didn't let me stay at their house, too. I remember outside in the cold, I was basically homeless. No money, no nothing. And somehow I ripped my sole off my shoe. I was walking around flapping around, and I was questioning life, sitting down in the cold in wintertime, questioning God, why this? God, why did you do this? And I came to realize I experienced step 1 there, that I am powerless over alcohol and my life is unmanageable. And I was like, yo, God, it's time for you to take over now. The only place I could go to was this guy who was still drinking. So I just slept on his couch, and he was trying to offer me drinks. I was like, no, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And I came here, and I was in detox for a week. And I remember on the 5th day in detox, I had to tremble, just shake, tremors, and my mind was everywhere. And on the 5th day, I was like crying, and I was like, God, please show me the way. Have someone show me. And then the next day, I got a call from my counselor who used to work here. She was like, I found 4 treatment places for you. I was like, thank you, God.
Yeah.
And then there was Washington, California, Minnesota, and Phoenix. And Phoenix caught my eye. And there's a native traditional treatment over there. There were sweat lodges over there. And I went over there for 45 days, and I got a sponsor on the 2nd week. And he came in, and I heard his story. I got something in his story. It was like, wow, I need to get this guy's number. And I didn't even ask him to be my sponsor. And he was like, I want you to read Doctor's Opinion, chapter 1 through 4, and 10 reasons to stay sober. I was like, okay. In my mind, I was like, I didn't ask you to be my sponsor. And then I sat down for a week, and I remember the story. I read about a book they gave me here, 12 Step of Grief. I remember there was a story in there where this guy was on a roof, and it was flooding, and it was like, God, save me! Come on, save me! You can save me! You're Almighty! And the helicopter came. We'll save you here. And he was like, no, go away. God can save me. Then a boat comes. No, we'll save you.
Yeah.
Like, go away. A boat. God
will
can
save
save me. And then he dies and he goes to heaven. He's like, why didn't you save me? I sent a boat and a goddamn helicopter to you. What else do you want? And I was like, oh, I got to make this guy my sponsor. And he was a heroin addict and I'm an alcoholic. And it doesn't matter if it's heroin or anything. It's all the same disease. And we went through step 1 and 2, and I finally got it after 4 and 5, step 4 and 5.
Yeah.
I remember going through my 4th step, telling him, but I still had some of the things I kept to myself. I was going to keep to the grave
All
while
the
I was telling.
emotions. So.
Yeah, all the dark I had done. And I remember telling my 4th step, and we went to the 5th step, and he was like, "You got anything you're hiding? You want to tell me?" I was like, I was gonna lie to him. My alcoholic mind was gonna tell me to lie, but I was like, in my mind, I was like, God, let me be honest. And I was quiet for 15 seconds. No word was coming out until I finally told the truth. Everything that was keeping me feel guilty and shameful, and I told him everything I've done, every dark I've done, and I was crying while I was telling him, and I was just crying, and he started crying. And a crazy thing happened was it was a calm day in Arizona, and a breeze went between my sponsor, and it was like, and he was like, "That's God," and that's when I had my spiritual awakening, and I meditated for an hour. He told me to do that, to go to a room, and I prayed, and I was reflecting my fourth step in my life, and then I slept, and I woke up the next day, and I was like, "Wow, this world doesn't revolve around me anymore." I was like, your problem is not my problem, it's your problem. So like, yeah, life is good. And I got to 6, 7, 8, 9, and the steps, and found out about my character defects, and I work still to this day. I work on my character defects. I catch them even if when I drive, like, oh, take it away, God. And yeah, these defects are going to be a lifelong work. So, and these amends I gotta make. I made my amends. There's a notepad of thick amends I gotta make. Over 40 people I gotta say sorry to.
That's gotta be tough, man.
And I made 5 of them so far. Yeah. So some amends I can make, because it's in the big book. It says some amends you can make. Mm-hmm. If they're happy, don't make the amends. If they're happy, give it to God. Some amends I give to God. And
yeah, isn't it kind of like if it would like actually cause them more harm, more damage, then you just gotta
just lead them be.
I mean, make it to your higher power.
Just make a living amends right there. Just do what you're doing right now.
But if there's like amends, if there are amends that will make their life better or more peaceful, then it's kind of your responsibility to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Made my first amends to my dad when he went to Arizona, and it was an awesome moment. I told him my side of the story and how I hurt him, and it was like, what can I do to fix it, Dad? Keep doing what you're doing, son. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But one of my favorite amends was to my grandmother. Like, I remember coming back from Arizona, it was like, I'm going home, and my sponsor was like, oh, hold on, settle down for a bit. Take time for yourself. And I did that, and I got a call about a month later that my grandma doesn't have enough time. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, Dad, my sponsor is, I need to go right now. So I brought someone along with me in the program.
Yeah, that seems a good choice.
Yeah, I did that. And
that could have been hard.
Mm-hmm, and I did.
Probably was.
I remember going to my hometown. She can't show emotion anymore. She can't speak anymore. And I remember on the last day I was there, she was smiling at me. That's like, she came back alive. I can see it by her eyes. She couldn't talk or show emotion, but I can see it through her eyes. And I got to make amends in my own language. And she was happy, and I was like, I'll see you someday. Mm-hmm.
What is your language?
Yupik.
Okay.
And I told her I'll see her someday, and I left that day, and the next day she passed away. Yeah. Like she was waiting for me.
Yeah.
To say goodbye. And that was one of my that'll be to this day my favorite amends.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just right now I'm just living the life right now, just being sober, got 2 helping people go through these steps, and 2 sponsees. And before this I was in my meeting before this podcast. I was like, my meetings come first before anything.
Yeah.
And I got to hear good things at that meeting today.
Really?
Like, real good things.
Yeah.
It's still to this day, even if I have 6 months, I'm learning.
Yeah.
Even if I read the book, I'm still learning. It's like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
So it's this recovery thing is going to be a life thing. Yeah. It's basically growing up. Taught me how to be responsible, how to be good to people. And I got an apartment right now, so moving closer into town. Right now, where I'm living there's 2 alcoholics, and they get clients that drink and they party. It's crazy. I've never been around that much alcohol since I relapsed.
Yeah, that's got to be hard.
Yeah, it's like, positive and agitated, and I just make phone calls when I'm struggling. Every day I wake up and I just give my will to God. And that's the one thing you got to do in these programs. You got to find a higher power that's greater than you. It doesn't have to be God. It can be Buddha, anything, a doorknob. I wouldn't suggest that. But like, some people in these programs, they have struggled with a God. So, God thing, I had a problem with it. And I remember hearing a woman who came into a treatment place when I was in Arizona. She said, fire the God you have and hire a new one. And I did that. It's been good. I have the same God, but it's not the God I had before. The God I had before was a punishing God, wrathful God. If you do this, you'll go to hell. So I have a forgiving God right now, and he's good. And I got rebaptized, reconnected with my faith again. And yeah, it's been awesome right now. Been life has been doing good, and I sing a lot, so
Yeah.
I'm starting to write songs now again.
Nice. Still playing guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been singing for.
Is that we've actually heard a lot of similarity in that aspect too. People finding a way to kind of express, like you said before, when you were a kid, you had a lot of repressed emotions, a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of things you don't want to tell somebody built up here. And I would only imagine, you kind of touch on some of that, not necessarily the details, but the emotions in your music. For a lot of people we've talked to, it's been art. It's been like the last lady we talked to was acrylic painting, just whatever you can do. It seems like that expression is so important, being able to express yourself and be honest with yourself through whether it be music or art or, writing or just whatever your escape is. You're replacing that vice of alcohol or drugs with a really truthful, more pure expression. Something to kind of throw your struggles out onto something, into somewhere, make them tangible, versus just trying to cover it up and hide it, or just to mask it more or less.
Because like when I started drinking, I started getting these writer's block in my head. Like I can't stop. Like I can't write anything no more. And I was like, oh, I can't write anything more. I started drinking and all that. And right now, I'm working on a song what I wrote in Arizona. It's part of my 10th step, and it's about my deadbeat dad.
Yeah.
My dad wasn't there, and it's a work in progress. My first song I ever wrote was in. I had a high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to go to college, and I went to college, and we kind of grew apart after going to college. And I still love her. We're best friends right now, and she heard that song. She cried when she heard it, and yeah, it's just something special.
Yeah.
I still sing it to this day. And there's some songs, some people, when they ask me, like, can you play this song? Can you play that song? Can you? It's like, I don't learn random songs.
Right.
I only
Play Smoke on the Water.
Yeah, it's like, I only learn songs that mean something to me. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I know only like 20 songs right now. So
Right.
I just learned something that catches my ears. Like, holy cow, I caught a message in that. So I learned that song. Yeah.
Connectedness.
So you talked about going to like kind of detox in different states, and what do you think where was the big difference between the times you tried it and the time that it really worked and it really stuck?
When I was in Arizona. That's just my third treatment. Yeah.
Right.
I already went to detox. I went detox there. I told you about that. And
But what was different about that? What was different about Arizona?
Just finding understanding when I read the book, the AA book. I read it here and I didn't actually read it.
Right.
And I was just like, oh, I read it already.
Skimmed it more.
Yeah, I skimmed it. And then when I went to Arizona, I had 45 days and I was just reading it. And when I was actually reading it, I started understanding. It's like, whoa. It's like, dang. Started seeing it and doctor's opinion, learning about alcohol and seeing if I have one drink, I know the phenomenon of craving will show up. And step 2 is I find a God. The We Agnostic page of Alcoholics Anonymous got my eyes to and my heart. I don't know actually how it says, but there's this part is why something questioning about God. Who are you to question? He is God. And like, whoa. I started tearing up when I read that page. And I was over there and I was pretty serious and desperate to find what can help me to stay happy. And I found it through AA.
So like that really serious commitment that you made, because that's what we hear a lot with these recovery stories, is that where people really make the difference is when they just are like, this time I'm going to fully commit. I'm just going to take these steps and I'm going to do the things that sound stupid to me, but they really work.
The gift of desperation right there.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
We've heard that a lot, that phrase.
Sounds like that. Once you do, whether it be purposeful or whether it just, you know, happened on a snowy day with nowhere to go, like eventually after that, whoa, I can't handle this, my life is unmanageable. Once that like great recognition is made, then like that true progress and work and actually really getting kind of getting somewhere as possible. Because before you take that I can't do this anymore step, is there some amount of like control that you're still trying to grab onto that the program slash like your own health says to let go of? Because it sounds like they say we're going to need you to let go of some of this control, but then before, unless you take that step and acknowledge that you can't control it, there's still a part of you that's kind of like, maybe I can.
There are some days that's one of my character defects that kicks into self-will, and
Really?
there's some of it, but I have to know that I can't do it by my own, so I have to give it to my higher power, God.
And that's so hard, you know. I think about like part of this, like letting go of this control and give it up to, and like you said, any form of higher power. And it sounds like that is so key for so many people, but like especially like in the West, you know, that whole like pull yourself up by your bootstraps, that whole like Robinson Crusoe, you know, abandoned on an island, but like by the time he's off, you know, he's got farms, he's got structures, and people are like, that's because he had a will, like he exercised his will, he got up in the morning and he said, I'm going to conquer today. You know, some of that, like, although like people say don't be so controlling, I feel like in the West especially, we really glorify control. We glorify like getting up and like bending, you know, we say like we have bent steel and iron and all these materials to our will, and now we have railroads, and now we have huge buildings, and now we have all this infrastructure because man has taken control and bent these things to our will. So it's like everything that we're taught as we grow up, you're told like, hey, all those things that we glorify, all those things that we praise, this whole idea of pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and taking control, that's actually, we're going to need you to scrap all of that. That's hard. I mean, that has been ingrained in people so thoroughly.
This is, I think, it's just like making the right decision when that time comes. Like,
Sure.
yeah, it's like it's hard to explain.
Kind of finding a balance between when you need to be, when it is okay to be engaged, and there are like very tangible things you can control versus the things that you're like are just bigger, you know, just a little bigger than you and your capabilities to make those kind of decisions or try to control that situation, whatever that may be.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I know in a history class I took, there's a philosopher, I think like 17th century, maybe 16th, kind of forget, but his Hegel, it's like Hegelian dialectics, and part of it is like one of the major things he says is that like eventually like man has to like get a will pretty much, and like part of it is like part of his example is Napoleon, you know, he conquered the world, well tried, and you know he had a will, and that's when you see things happen, and like out of all of that is like that self-will, you know. And I mean for a long time now it's like you better have a will, and you better be like a self-will, and you better be ready to work hard for that, and if you're not, then you don't fit these boxes that we have culturally made for you. And then how hard is that, you know? I mean, I get stressed out about it even listening to these stories, not in a bad way, but I get stressed because it just like opposes everything that I've been taught, you know, right? And I can't be the only one. I mean, that's a thing, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and you have this kind of, I guess, stigma of if you ask for help, you're weak. Like if you use the people around you who are willing to help you out, then somehow you're worse off because you couldn't handle it on your own. And that's just not true. It's just not true, because people who are willing to help, there's just such a, in all these stories I hear, it's huge. The people that are there to support, that are there to talk, a lot of these people come in to the lives of these people who are trying to get through recovery and really make sure they stay on track. And that's huge, because on your own, I mean, you leave yourself alone long enough, you could probably justify anything, you know, and just having that, I guess, someone who really cares about you, who has your best interest in mind, and can look out for you.
Yeah.
I feel from a lot of the stuff we've listened to and a lot of people we've talked to that in recovery, your sponsor is really big in that, you know, and trusting you, but also holding you accountable and helping you find that balance between, all right, man, that's not something you can control. Here's something you could control that might help affect the situation, the little things you can do.
They give you, suggestions. Like
That's what someone else said earlier. Suggest.
Yeah.
They're gonna
They don't tell you what to do.
Yeah, it's like, I'll suggest you this one. Like one of my Arizona sponsor, you know, I was shellfish as and yeah, he gave me a suggestion. It was like, when someone asks for a cigarette, give them 5. I was like, 5? Really?
You're like, you know, stuff $7 a
They're
pack.
gonna really pay me $5.
Yeah, and then he's like, it's just a suggestion. I was like real pissed about it. I was like, give him my 5 cigarettes. And I was like,
I'll make a suggestion
Yeah.
to
Take
you.
That suggestion. I'll give you
And
5
then-
suggestions.
yeah, and then I started giving people 5. It was like, when someone asked for a cigarette, can I have a cigarette? It was in Arizona. So can I have a cigarette? Like, here you go. It's like, I asked for 1. It's like, oh, my sponsor told me give me 5. So for a month, I kept on doing that. On the first week and the second week, I was like, oh, here you go, here you go. Then after a month later, I was like, here you go, here you go. That selfishness was getting away.
Yeah.
Here you go. I was like, and then I was like, oh, these cigarettes are getting expensive. I'm gonna get a vape. And I got a vape, and then people with vapes in the treatment place, I said, can I have juice? Like, yeah, here you go, man.
Here's 5.
This is getting expensive.
But like, yeah, these suggestions can help a lot, man, if you put into it. And I got a recent suggestion too. It's my sponsor was like, "Hey Bob, I'm gonna get a dog." It's like, "Oh no, hold on, slow down. I want you to get a plant."
I've heard that.
Yeah, so and it was like, a plant. It was like, yeah, if you can raise a plant for a year, you can get a dog. So like, oh, I'll get a plant. So I got a plant right now I'm taking care of. It's been 3 weeks, and when I got it, it was all beat up. Now it's looking a lot healthier, and yeah, it's just a new experience. And
awesome.
I talked to that plant too.
Right.
Yeah, because I hear that it can hear you and have feelings and stuff. So I just talked to that plant. It's
Pet
crazy.
your aloe vera. Give it a name.
There is something spiritual
given
about
it a
that,
name?
honestly.
Have you named your pet?
Not-
Plant?
Pet.
Your pet plant? Yeah.
Have you named your pet plant? No, you know.
Taking
what I'm
on walks.
I don't know what I'm gonna name it though, but I still talk to
saying. Is that a boy or a girl?
a thing. I think.
Oh.
Just kidding. I don't know. It's
There
I
is
don't know.
something kind of
Should name
spiritual
it
with
Nephew
that.
Zach.
hey, Zach, how you doing? Yeah, just I'll do that. Yeah, name Zach. Zach sounds like a good name. Yeah, it's just gonna work out. Yeah, it's just after a year I can get a dog. They say like raise a plant for a year, then get a dog. If you can take a dog for a year, you can get a girlfriend. So I don't know about that though, but yeah. But I'm doing like waiting until I have a year until I get into a relationship thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
But I don't feel like I need a relationship right now. It's like,
Right.
Yeah.
You and your plant are growing together right now.
Yeah.
Is that probably your focus right now, you think?
Yeah.
Just
Focusing on me and that plant right now.
Yeah.
Finding God's will every day.
Sure.
Yeah. Because like I know if I do my will, I'm gonna end up where I was.
Yeah.
Because right now, just every problem I got is like, God, take it over. For he answers prayers, and it's crazy how he answers prayers. I remember before I got my first sponsee, I was like 2 weeks prior, and I was like, God, if you want me to have a sponsee, let it happen. 2 weeks later, this kid, he's 18 years old, and he's at the Serenity House, and he asked me to be his sponsor. I was like, holy cow, it's happening. Oh, God, it's happening.
he
Holy
sent you
shit.
the helicopter.
Yeah, holy shit. And I called my sponsor, like, Bob, I'm going to get a sponsor. I couldn't say no. I was like, oh, you see, the prayers are powerful. I was like, holy cow, dang. And now we're on step 4, and he's getting pissed right now. Step 4, like, good. Accept those feelings.
Take a bath.
Yeah, he's doing good right now. Not good on calling though, but he's doing good.
Yeah.
How you ask him to call every day?
Daily, yeah.
How often does he call? Not daily. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, just leave it at that.
Yeah.
It's up to him though. That's what I was taught in this program. You can't save anyone. They have to do it for themselves. That's what I had to experience for myself. I have to want it. If you put 75% of it, you're going to get 75% of it. It's not enough. You got to put 110% of it. And, yeah.
This sounds hard, though, you know? I mean, I'm not saying, like, I don't mean to sound silly, like, but, like, all this, like, oh, this is, you know, you say, like, oh, I just got to give 110%. Oh, I just have to give up control. Oh, I have to give up my self-will. I'm, like, sweating over here, man. Like, no, for real. Like, that all sounds stinking hard, you know?
So, like, how
just
many, like,
hearing that, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
Daunting.
you ever have that make a plan? Like, make a plan and it doesn't go your way and you get pissed?
every day.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what,
That's why I'm
self-will.
sweating, man. That's why I'm sweating over here.
Yeah, it's just like having that
Like,
higher.
I make a plan every day. I mean, I get mad at the plan every day, but like you're telling me don't make a plan. I know,
mean,
you're
it's
not,
like,
I know
yeah.
you're not saying like don't make a plan at all.
Yeah, I
get
mean,
what you're
there's
saying.
some plans like
No,
you
I
can
get
make
it.
with friends.
Yeah,
And
I get it. Yeah.
then, like, I had a plan with my buddy. Pick me up at 8. I was like, I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And every day every time I wake up, I'd be like, all right, God, what's your plan for today? And things pop up out of nowhere.
And that's such a huge theme on a lot of the stories, is that letting go of things that are outside of your control. Just it's huge.
Yeah, I mean, that is the big theme, you know, letting go. And for a lot of people, you know, in this, whatever your higher power is, I mean, I'm going to call it, I'm going to use this old phrase, you know, I'm pretty sure it's a biblical phrase. I don't know. Let go and let God.
We
You
use
know,
that all the time.
Yeah, whatever your higher power is, whether you're letting go and letting Buddha, or whether you're letting go and letting God, just being able to let go, freely express yourself, and just release that baggage, man. Just to drop your bags at the door. Come into the, literally, Serenity Intake Office here on Binkley Street, not Brinkley. Binkley Street. Yeah. literally come drop your baggage at the door. Get help. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. It's not weakness. That stigma's overused, overdone. It's garbage. It's garbage. Come here, let go, let all your baggage out. Meet some pretty awesome dudes like Zach and Billy, the guys we've been talking to today, man. Pretty sweet dudes, good guys to hang around. Get into your groups, you know, get into your program and let these guys help you. If you're ready and willing, this is the place to be.
Yeah, the first step is so hard, but it's so important, because once you get on that track, it really opens the door for the recovery.
Yeah, I think they'll have to experience that first step.
Yeah,
That
I'm
first
sure.
step I had to experience myself too.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Like if you're struggling out there, there's these rooms out here, the AA and NA, and I suggest you get a sponsor and do the steps.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, Billy. It was awesome talking to you, man. It's great to meet you.
Thanks for having me here.
Yep. This was Eric, Aaron, and Coburn, and we are You and I for the Kenai. Thanks again for listening.